read something to you. A climber is not intimidated by a mountain, but he's inspired by the mountain. And a winner is not discouraged by a problem, but challenged by the problem. Mountains are created to be conquered, and adversities are designed to be defeated. Problems are sent to be solved. It's better to master one mountain or one macro goal than a bunch of little micro goals or small foothills. This is what we push in our SEAL training, Ranger training, Marine Corps training. I don't want to say SEAL exclusive, but this is how we train our military. We push them hard because we send them off to war and we expect a lot out of them over there. We want to push them as hard as we can possibly push them because we want them to quit. Because if they're going to quit just with some exercises, they don't belong overseas fighting and teammates depending on them. That's called log PT. You're doing curls with the logs, you're running with the logs, you're doing lunges with the logs, and it's a great team building exercise. We do that, we do a bunch of exercises, but what we do with this hardcore training is we believe we produce the toughest warriors in the world. And that's why we do it. The ethos didn't come all from the US military, some came from the early days Spartans, and they might not ask, how many enemy are there? They'd say, where are they? We're going after them. And that's the attitude we're trying to get. It's, come on, bring it on. I learned early on, anything worth doing, it's painful. I welcome the pain. I look at the mountain, I look at the SEAL trainers going through SEAL training, I look at this 500, 600 mile race without being too aggressive. I kind of sit back, bite my lower lip and said, bring on the pain, I'll take it all. And if I can't take it, I'll simply pass out. And it works. The only thing is, there's two types of pain. We have these t-shirts that say pain is good, extreme pain is extremely good. It's an old-fashioned saying. Everybody's heard it. But there is a difference between the types of pain. If this guy here on my side over here is going, he's doing this log PT, doing the sit-ups, and he's getting blisters, and his back hurts, and his head hurts, and he's got all these issues, and he can't muster up the temporary pain to discipline, he's going to put that log down, he's going to go ring a bell, and he's going to quit, and for the rest of our lives we have to hear him saying, well, it's going to be a SEAL, but some excuse will come out. If this guy over here just keeps going, and has that permanent discipline in him, and he's not going to give up no matter what, for the rest of his life, he can say, I didn't give up. He's got a chance of becoming a SEAL. For the rest of his life, he's got the pain, the permanent pain and regret for the rest of his life. He's got a chance to become a SEAL. So why not set that goal high, real high, and go after it? It's going to hurt. Just don't give up the dream. Hit the micro goals, and you'll get there. If not, just readjust. I'm going to tell you, one day in training, they take you, they tie your hands, tie your feet, and they say, go in the water, and tread water until we get tired. We don't know how the instructors are going to get tired, but you go in the water, and you go down low, and you try to get your way up and get your lips over the water and get a breath of air, and people are kicking and spitting and yelling and coughing, and you go back down. And that's not a good picture because the pool is crowded at that point with all the people in your SEAL training class. You're going back down, and you're trying to get back up, getting a breath of air without swallowing too much chlorine and water, and you have no idea how long this is going to last. And people want to quit. We had one guy who put his head on a rope that was in the pool, and the instructor was hitting him in the forehead with a pool cleaning pole. And we were just seeing bits and pieces. And we'd get up there, we'd hear him screaming and coughing and choking, and then before you know it, he was down at the bottom of the pool, laid out. I said, they just killed him, and we're still bobbing up and down here. This is some hardcore training. And they had two Navy divers come over, and they pulled him up and resuscitated him, and he lived, but they kicked him out for cheating. So that day, you start out with maybe 150 or so people, and you finish with about 140 after that exercise, because you want these people to quit. Then the next time, they say, okay, you guys who passed, now stand at the edge of the pool, do a forward flip in the air, which will take some air out of you, go underwater, and swim to the other end of the 25-meter pool, do a flip turn under there, don't surface and don't come up for air, and come back. Everybody here can do it. You're going to feel like you need to breathe, but you don't need to breathe. If you pass out underwater, we'll pull you up. That's all you have to do. 4 years before this, the only thing in my life was to be a SEAL. I was going to do anything. And every race I did, everything I ate, every time I slept, it was to become stronger. So I was going to do anything they said to do, of course. So I did my flip, went underwater, swam over there to the other edge, and I was thinking, oh boy, my head's hurting. This hurts. And I did my flip turn on the other edge and started coming back. Oh boy, this really, really hurts. Then it started feeling like an ice pick in my head. It kept getting more and more painful, and I was thinking, I can't do it, I can't do it. And I shot to the surface. That's the second time I quit in life, and I quit. And they don't look at you in the eye. They say, get over there, quitter. I'm being nice. They don't say the word quitter. Get over there. You know. So we're there with a bunch of other quitters, and my whole life is done because talk about feeling small, I couldn't feel smaller. Everything I wanted in life is gone because I just quit, because I felt bad for myself. None of us were saying a word. We're just standing there like this. And they said, these guys here, you don't want to go to war with people like that. They quit when they get uncomfortable. These guys over here, these 8 or so people, they might have a chance. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Finally, one of the instructors says, you guys over there, do you want to give him another chance? They said, yeah, give him another chance. So I said, no matter what, I'm going to do it. Did my forward flip, went underwater, swam to the other end, did a flip over that end. And it was hurting. It felt like the ice pick in my head, hurting and hurting and hurting. But I was unconscious, but I pulled me up when I got to the other end. I just needed someone a lot tougher than me to push me over that little hurdle there. And it saved my life shortly after that, underwater, under a ship. So sometimes you just need someone a little bit stronger than yourself to get you through the tough times. The instructors wanted nothing to do with us once we quit. Being a quitter in the SEAL teams is about the worst word they could use. I'm calling you anything. If you took a military person in the US military, SEAL, Marine, Ranger, whoever he is, and you set him there with the best weapon, best parachute, best medical gear, best comms gear, and you set him off to war, he's not gonna do really well because of all his gear. He's gonna do well because of his mindset. His soul is on fire. You take a young SEAL right out of training, you give him a knife and set him off to war, and he's raring to go. It's all about the mindset. It's all about the mindset. I'm giving you extreme examples. It's all about the mindset. A hey-ho is high altitude, high opening jump. Hey-low, a lot of people do hey-lows. It's fun. High altitude, low opening. Jump out, you fall for about a minute, you pull, and you land. It's a great jump. It's a great experience, a lot of fun. We did hey-lows. But mainly in SEAL Team 6, we did hey-hos, and they're not any fun. High altitude, high opening. You're way above the clouds, sometimes up to 30,000 feet, on oxygen, sometimes 45 miles away from the target, always in the middle of the night. Big rucksack, weapon, GPS, oxygen, helmet, and mask. You walk out of the plane and you jump, high altitude, high opening, and you pull right away. So you're all up there for 45 minutes to an hour flying under canopy. So one day I went through one of these hey-hos and I pulled and my feet went through my risers, the lines going up to the parachute, and the risers spun. I hit my helmet, knocked my head way off to the left. I thought my neck had snapped because I saw the white burst of stars. My oxygen mask flew off, and I was going down to earth real fast. My parachute was what's called a cigarette roll. And I cut away, I got rid of that, and I got a reserve out. I got my oxygen mask back on. I saw those guys way, way, way up there still in the night. They had little lights on. And I tried to talk on the radio, but my jaw was dislocated. It was off to the side. And I tried to get on the radio to let them know I had a cutaway, but I couldn't speak. And I was thinking, well, shoot, I'm a medic. I can take care of this. And under canopy, I was able to put my jaw back in place and then get on the radio and said, I had a cutaway. I'll be there in a bit. And I remember smiling, thinking, at one point in life, I would have thought that was a problem. That wasn't really a problem. I just loved the way life was going and the way I was thinking, because I know things were changing. So I tell you that pool story for a reason. We had to do a 4-hour ship attack to rescue a hostage off the ship. It was a training exercise. It's 4 hours, and we dove on pure oxygen. Pure oxygen, after 4 hours, is lethal. It's toxic. So you can go to 30 feet in 4 hours. You can't go deeper or longer. And our dives were, we swam on a pole, and like 6 or 7 people on a pole. You had to do all these turns, always in the middle of the night, until you finally find the ship you're under. You had to be under that ship, and try to identify the ship. And it's, on this dive, I was looking 4 hours, 15 minutes, 4 hours and 20 minutes, and we finally found a ship. We rigged the line under it, and I'm worried someone's going to start having convulsions. And we take off our fins and put it on the line, take off your weight belt, put it on the line, and take off your breathing apparatus, put it on the line. And I was waiting for the signal, and now it's 4.5 hours, and I was just breathing. And then all of a sudden, there is nothing. I said, it's pitch black. I went, there is nothing. So I went through my procedures, inhalation valve, exhalation valve, everything was on, mouthpiece was on, oxygen was on. I went through those procedures 3 times. I started feeling that ice pick feeling again, like in the pool training exercise. So I shook my buddy's fin, and he came down to me, and I did this to his mouth to see if he had a mouthpiece in, and he didn't. So I went through my procedures one more time. No kinks, oxygen on, mouthpiece up. I said, I'm going to blow this mission. We had one rule of engagement: don't get compromised, don't get caught. So I'm swimming up to the bottom of the ship. I felt the bottom of the ship, and my head was killing me. Oh, and if a ship is this big, you're that big as a diver. I found the bottom of the ship. At this time, my buddies, if they've surfaced, they're putting up a hook and ladder up the side of the ship and then going to climb it, wondering where the other teammate was. But here I am, walking, hand over hand, trying to find the side of the ship, and there was an obstruction. I couldn't surface. Then I think, well, I'm dead. Nobody knows I'm here. How are they going to find my body in the morning? I can get out of all this pain if I just take one deep breath, and it'll be all over. They'll never find me in the morning, my body. And I was thinking, that's all I have to do. But instead, I did what they taught me in the pool. Don't quit, and just keep kicking, keep kicking, keep kicking. Minutes have gone by without breathing. I don't know how many minutes, because I didn't time it. But I swam all the way to the front of the ship underwater, and I knew I was getting deeper because it kept getting colder and colder and colder and colder. I surfaced around the ship. The bow of the ship came around. My teammates had the ladder and the pole. They were climbing. I climbed up behind what's called a stack, the train, tucked down, got the hostage out. Other than that, it was a perfect op. They said in the dive brief, anybody have a problem with the diving? I said, yeah, I had a slight problem. It's just a valve that froze. There's nothing you can do. But as a visit with Murphy, we always toasted at the end of the night. Cheated death once again. Everything was going wrong. What I liked is not panicking and not thinking I couldn't do it, and just keep kicking and kicking and kicking, no matter how much it was going to hurt. That's giving 100%. In SEALs, you can't give less than 100%. I don't think giving less than 100% in any profession is worth it. Last little story I'm going to mention is we had to jump in a mission that's really not talked about still. There was just 4 of us selected for this, and I was very proud to be on this. And we were very sick, though, because we had eaten frogs and snakes and poisonous snakes. And you kill them, you hit them on the side of your boot and peel the skin back, take the venom sacs out, and you eat them. We were sick, the 4 of us. And we were the Egyptian commando counterparts eating these snakes and frogs. And then we had to go down south and do a mission. So we got in a rubber boat, put the rubber boat in the helicopter, flew above the sea. We were going to jump in, parachuted out after the boat, and we're sick as could be. They said, stay out of the water. It's infested with sharks, because the Arabs who are killing all the camels are putting the intestines and everything in the water, and that's where the sharks are, and that's where we had to jump in. So we got in the water. We quickly got out, got the boat inflated, took it up to shore, and we're looking at the shoreline about 100 meters away for enemy personnel. And still sick as can be, middle of the night. And 2 of us had to swim off the boat to go look on land for enemy personnel. We didn't see anybody, so we called the boat over. There's a finger of land surrounded by water on 3 sides, and we had an objective to take notes, get pictures, get all the information we can on an airfield. And we had an objective to do everything we can on the shipyard, get all the traffic coming and going, who they were, get as much information as we can for 3 days. You guys got to stay there for 3 days, and we couldn't find a place to stay. So we dug a hole. We put our boat and the non-operational gear in one hole, and the other hole, the 4 of us went in that hole. We put a camouflage net over our heads. We had long hair and beards. We're in that hole, and we're sick. And we had to get the hole dug before it got daylight. And then you can't leave the hole to use the bathroom. You can't leave the hole to throw up. So that's what we did in the hole for 3 days. What made matters worse is at high tide, the hole filled up with water up to our necks. So we're in our sewage for 3 days. And our noses were packed with sand, our ears were packed with sand, but we had goggles on. So we're sitting there in our sewage for 3 days with the weapons up, camouflage netting overhead, and this guy comes walking up, and his eyes got bigger and bigger and bigger as he saw camouflage netting in the desert. And he put his hands up and he ran off. And he went and he got reinforcements. And we got caught. We tried to get out of there as quickly as we could. We were as sick as could be. We weren't eating, we weren't drinking. Nobody was complaining, but we knew we had to get out of there. We didn't want to be killed. What happened at that point is 14 or so guys came over the section of land, all with AK-47s, and they had them pointed at our chest and our heads, and we were quickly trying to undig that hole, and the boss says, guys, put your hands up. We said, what? He said, put your hands up. We looked over the little knoll, and these 14 guys came up, scared to death, pointing at us, so we put our hands up, and they circled around us. And I was thinking, well, they're not going to shoot us, because they'll shoot right through us into each other, but they don't think that way. But anyways, they were yelling, down, 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 in broken English, down. They want to shoot us in the backs for trespassing. We said, no, we're going to go back in this boat, which we're trying to inflate. We're going to go back home, United States. They sent an interpreter back to a village and came back. The interpreter said, you're trespassing, we're going to kill you. We said, no, we're going to get back in our boat and we're leaving. This went on for, seemed like forever, but probably a half hour. They let us go. We got back in the boat, sick as could be, went around the next night, caused them a whole bunch of destruction and problems. We won, they lost, and not one guy complained. Not one guy complained. That's the attitude I'm talking about today. I might go home tonight and maybe somebody will say, oh, I got a headache. I got a splinter in my foot. You can push yourself way, way harder than that and not complain. We earn a trident. It's called the Navy SEAL trident. When you become a SEAL, you get it pinned on right here. It's the biggest medal in the military. We believe you should earn that every day. Don't just get it pinned on one day. Whatever it is you do in life, don't achieve it and sit back in your laurels. I've been captured twice. Just never gave up. Sometimes when things get really, really rough at home, at the office, at school, or at work, it's hard to focus on the light. It's hard to focus on what you're trying to get done. That's when you have to bring in this inner strength. Military's had a bunch of great stories in the news lately. You may have heard SEAL Team 6 jumped into Somalia, rescued some aid workers, killed all the terrorists, hostages okay, SEALs okay. We were ecstatic. The Bainbridge, you probably saw this movie with Tom Hanks. SEALs jump in the ocean, come to the Bainbridge, set 3 snipers at the deck, and they said, just keep an eye on those Somali pirates that's being towed in a lifeboat. You never train for a mission like that. 3 Somali pirates in a lifeboat being towed by this ship. The lifeboat's going up and down, the ship's going up and down, 3 snipers trying to get a view of what's going on in there. They know the Somali pirates have weapons up to the hostage heads. They know Captain Phillips is in there. They couldn't negotiate with these guys. Nothing was going on. So finally they said, if you SEAL snipers can get a shot, take it. The people on the ship heard one shot. 3 rounds came through 3 windows, all terrorists dead, all hostages okay, Captain Phillips survived. That's fiction. I mean, whoever takes a shot like that, whoever takes 3 shots at the same time. That's unbelievable what the military's doing. It just kept getting better and better and better for the SEAL team and for the military in general. And then to get the bin Laden raid, my God, everybody wanted that. There's a lot of units that could have done that. That wasn't a difficult raid. A lot of people in the Marines, the Army could have done that. SEAL Team 6 got it. I'd like to say, I'm proud to say, I should say, my friend's the one who took the shot and got bin Laden. He told me this story numerous times. What they did, they got the green light, fly from Afghanistan, get all their gear, put it in a helicopter, fly across the border. They were all sure they were going to be killed. They all wrote letters home to their daughters and wives and girlfriends, whatever. They said, if you get this, it's because I didn't make it back doing what I loved doing. We had 3,000 people killed on 9/11. I did this mission for them. They knew they were going to get shot out of the sky in Pakistan. They knew if they can get into Abbottabad without getting shot down and get near Osama's compound, that they would be shot. I get those guys mixed up, I'm sorry. Sorry. But they knew if they got close, they could get shot down. And they know going in the walls, they could have snipers and suicide bombers all over. They still went in. One helicopter had a bad landing. They went in there, robbed the guy who killed bin Laden. They went running in, they put a breaching charge on the door, cracked it off, ran inside, some small arms fired down below, ran upstairs. Rob was number 2 up the stack, going up the stairs. The number 1 man saw one of the guys looking down the stairs. He recognized him from the intel cards. He said, Ahmed, Ahmed. Ahmed looked down and got him. They ran upstairs. Number 1 man jumped on all the women. He knew he was going to be blown up with the suicide vest. I mean, all the noise and the helicopters and the crash landing and the shooting downstairs, they knew they were ready for him. And Rob looked, and bin Laden was holding his wife, one of his wives, with an AK, and Rob shot him here twice and once on the ground. The other guys came running up. They go, what happened up here? And Rob said, I think I got him. It's not recognizable anymore, but I think I got him. They put him in a body bag, got all this intel, got back in the helicopter, and they knew they were going to get shot out of the sky on the way back. And the pilot jokingly said, because they've been in and out of Afghanistan for 10 years, the pilot jokingly said, well, for the first time in your life, you might like to hear, welcome to Afghanistan. And they got in Afghanistan, and they take the body bag, and they put it down, and President Obama's on the news talking about special forces just getting number 1 terrorist in the world. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. I mean, we were on an all-time high in SEAL team, in the military. Most Americans were. Just kept getting better and better and better. When you go to SEAL training, there's a frogman statue. And it says, the more sweat and tears you put into training, the less blood shed in wartime. The guys on the op, I was training officer there when I left SEAL Team 6. The guys on the op would say, Don, training was never this easy. It was like shooting paper targets. They thought the bin Laden raid was easy because they were so highly trained. But, as we all know, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. Winston Churchill said, it's the courage to continue on that counts. The hardest talks I've ever done as family members of those who went in. Helicopter was sitting there, the Army was in a firefight, they needed some help. So SEALs were there, they said, let us go to war. They jumped in the helicopter, 1 Taliban guy got him. I showed you my assault team early on. We had 4, shoots helicopter out of the sky, now there's 3. Just like that, we lost 1/4 of our fighting team. It's the worst day in SEAL team history. Couldn't believe it happened. So it did, it happened. And you know, it was a hard thing. You know, I had it easy as a SEAL because I wasn't involved in 2 non-stop wars. These guys had it really hard. They're not, if they came in when they're 18 and they retired at 38, they've been at war their whole lives. So when I was in, 300 days a year you're gone, medical appointments, funerals, all that. But add 2 non-stop wars to that, it's a whole different story. These guys here, I didn't know how they were going to handle it. Divorce rates. One guy I think's got a number 6 right now, the highest I know. 2, 3, 4 is not uncommon. I went back to the command and I didn't know what they would be like. I didn't know how these guys were going to handle the situation. I mean, we've always lost 1 or 2 people every now and then, but not a whole fighting force, not 1/4 of the team. I went back there. First we toasted all the names on the wall, the memorial wall. Talked to all the guys. They showed us all the pictures of dead terrorists and how they got them all. And I swear to God, man for man, every person there either said or you knew they were thinking it, I can't wait to get back over there to finish the mission. They're not tiring out at all. And that's all about the mindset. So it was a day I was just honored to be in that room with those guys again. So we're all going to die. One of the greatest tragedies of life is not death. That's just going to happen. But what you can let die in you if you allow that to happen. I'm personally not going to be the person who, when it's the end, to say, I wish I tried that, I wish I could have done more, I wish I'd done more. I'm not going to be the I should have, could have, would have been guy. I failed at a bunch of things. I wasn't good at a bunch of things, but at least when I go out, I'm going to go out knowing I gave it my best, just about everything I've ever done. Because one day, all of us have this in common, One day, we're going to wake up, and there's not going to be time to go after that goal or that dream. And I just hope time doesn't take your dreams away. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate this, and I wish you the best in all you do. Dr. Carberry's got something for you to say.
What a true testament to the human spirit. I mean, everybody's been dealt a different deck of cards in life. And some of us have had some pretty severe injuries. I'm definitely not the person in the room with the worst injury, but I was paralyzed for a short time in my life at an injury that I had when I was 25, which is how I got into healthcare. And so I know what it's like to face adversity. And when all's said and done, I think the message Don was telling us is, as spiritual beings, we're all equal. And that body is just a vehicle you use to express your spirituality. And you can get that body to work better. God gave you a body that can heal, but he didn't give you a directions manual on how to do it. You have to figure that out for yourself. We are a source of directions for that, because we recognize that not all ailments are a deficiency of medication or a lack of surgery. That a lot of ailments, you just need to find out what's preventing your body from healing and clear that out of the way and let your body go to work and do its job. So there's a lot of you here that are probably, we had you raise your hands earlier, that are veterans, and I know you have some injuries and some problems that you would want to handle. If you want to do that, we're going to give you guys an offer right now. And those of you who are not veterans, we have an offer for you as well. And what we do physically to make sure that your body has its greatest potential is we evaluate a couple things. Number one, we look at your posture. Because when somebody's going to start to suffer with chronic degenerative arthritis, before they even feel the symptoms, what will happen is their posture will start to go forward. And a lot of people think when we go through life, this is the 20s, this is the 30s, this is the 40s, this is the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and that is not the way God intended us to go through life. But that is a common way that many people go through life. So what we do is we have a way to evaluate your posture on a computer. We have you stand nice and tall, and we take a picture from 2 angles on a computer, and the computer will tell us, are you starting to do this or not? The earlier you catch that, the better chance you have of stopping those problems. The other thing that happens as you go through this, your muscles shorten and stiffen and weaken. So when old people get old, if they're common, they're stiff and they're tight and they're weak. And you don't have to go through life that way. How many of you ever heard of Jack LaLanne? Okay. Did anybody know where Jack LaLanne went to school? Chiropractic school. He wasn't called Dr. Jack LaLanne because the AMA went after him and said, you have to drop the doctor part or we're going to shut you down. And they had the power to do it. So they were trying to hold back natural remedies and non-drug remedies because they don't want you to do that. If you're sick, they sell more drugs. If you get fixed, you buy less drugs. My mother's going to be 91 years old. And she gets asked the same question that I get when she goes to the hospital for whatever reason. What medication are you taking? None. Why not? There's nothing wrong with me. You know, last time I was in a hospital, I had a fish hook buried so deep in my hand, I couldn't get out no matter how hard I tried. I didn't have a knife on the boat to do it that was sharp enough. I couldn't get it out. I figured, well, I better go to the hospital. Do you take any medication? No. Well, what's wrong with you? Got a fish hook in my hand. That's about it. That's how you should go through life. I'm going to be 60 in 2 years. I don't want to be spending the last 40 years of my life suffering. So if you address that physical side, then you can actually get your health back in a lot of cases, because that physical side will improve the other sides. So the first thing we check is posture. The second thing we check is for the muscles tightening and weakening. And that's called trigger points. How many ever heard of a trigger point? The person who made that very, very popular in healthcare, but not with the pharmaceutical industry, was a woman named Janet Travell. She was a medical doctor, and her famous patient was John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy was literally run over by a destroyer in World War II. It went right across his back. And he had a back injury that was so bad that if it was not for Janet Travell, he would have spent his life in a wheelchair, which is why the Kennedy family insisted that he would be the only president, even to this day, that ever had a non-military physician while he was in the White House. And she treated him daily, doing trigger point injections and doing different things to keep him mobile and keep him functional. So that was somebody who was literally run over by a battleship. Not many of us have. Some of you may have been, but I definitely have not been. But you look at that and you go, the potential of the human body, when you tap into that spirit to get it to heal, is tremendous. So we're offering you a free trigger point evaluation and treatment in our clinic. Why do we do this? Why do we do this for free? We want people to know that we exist. We are competing against the drug companies. We don't have $1 billion to advertise on TV for the next 3 days. So the way we get people to know what we do is we get them to experience it. So if you came in, if you said you wanted to come in for that, we would check your insurance. If you're not in the military and you have insurance, you go, well, is it covered? We accept most insurances, but our policy is this. We will check your insurance before we do any services. The 2 services I just told you about, the postural analysis and the trigger point assessment and treatment, which feels really good, we're not going to charge you for that. There's no charge for that. But if we find that there's something we can help you with, and you decide you want to proceed forward, our policy is no service is given unless we tell you ahead of time, this is how much your insurance is going to cover, this is how much you're going to be responsible for. We don't pull the old trick that the hospitals pull where you get the bill 12 weeks later. I just wrote a book, and the book is called The Death of American Healthcare, and it's starting to sell pretty well. I did a book signing in Florida last week. I was only there for 2 hours, and I couldn't sign enough books in 2 hours. But in that book, one of the things I tell people is the #1 reason for personal bankruptcy in the United States is unpaid medical bills. And 72% of those people had insurance. So just saying, I have insurance and I'm okay, it ain't broke, don't fix it, can get you in a world of hurt. It can put you down a path where you wish you didn't get down that path. And the #1 treatment for chronic degenerative arthritis is opioids. So we're trying to get people to know there are other ways to get well. Can we fix everybody? No. Can we help a lot of people? Yes. We're just trying to get that word out. So those 2 services, if you want to sign up for that, we're going to have 2 groups of people. Where are they at? Okay, in that corner, we have the people who are not military can go to that corner and they can help you sign up for that. There's no charge for that appointment. Now on that side is my wife, Colleen. I'm a very lucky guy. Colleen, raise your hand up. Okay. If you're a veteran, we are working with the Veterans Affairs Bureau to be able to try to get coverage for you. Now I know a lot of you say, well, I went to a doctor, it was frustrating, or I went to a chiropractor, I went to a physical therapist, they didn't get paid, they stopped treating me. We understand that frustration, which is why we're working straight into the VA to try to get this coverage for you. So if you're a veteran and you're interested to come in, go over and see Colleen with her team over there, and they'll help get you scheduled for that. So I want to thank all of you for attending and giving us an opportunity to explain. Whoop. I'll explain that. I want to thank all of you for attending and being part of this. I want to especially thank Don Mann for coming and gracing us with his stories and his inspiration. And Don, if you would come over here, Kathy, our assistant, is going to help you. She's going to help people come up. If you're interested to get a picture with Don or have a book signed, Don will be over here. Kathy will help see you with that. Thank you so much for your attention. And God bless everybody who's here and everybody who served our country.